Dungeon Tales, another mobile game. I'm back to my roots now. This is a newly released iOS and App Store game heavily inspired by Slay the Spire. So much so that after beating it 2 or 3 times, I uninstalled it from my device. And a few days later, I put it back on there, and I'm currently like level 10. And I'm glad that I put it back on and kept playing it. Gave this game another shot. There's a lot more here once you get past the, oh yeah, I remember that part from Slay the Spire. But it's pretty barren right now. There are a couple options at the bottom. There's achievements. Each achievement gives you a card. You kind of do things in the game, certain play styles. Gain a total of 3,000 armor, reach 40 armor in a single turn, deal 75 damage with a single attack. Like, hey, let me kind of change the playstyle and the cards that I'm using to try and get these certain achievements. I have all of these. The leaderboard just takes you to a global leaderboard based on the score. And let me open up the deck. So there's 65 cards total. Every time you gain a level, you'll gain 1 or 2 cards, and every time you complete an achievement, you'll gain 1 or 2 cards. But yeah, there's a few different playstyles, and I'll talk about what my initial impression was and why I uninstalled it, and then what led me to keep going with it and why I've kind of progressed as far as I have. But before I do that, you'll see I have 1 card left, and I believe I'm going to get this as soon as I hit my next level up, which brings me to the shop. So there's 3 in-app purchases here: remove ads, double XP, and unlock all. There's 3 levels to the dungeon, and you see an ad, a 30-second ad, at the start of the second one, the second floor and the third floor. And then at the end of the run, you can watch an ad to kind of double the experience that you gain. None of them are intrusive. It's not overbearing. It takes you, 10, 15 minutes longer to clear each floor. So it's not like you're watching ad after ad after ad. So I've played a lot of this game now. The remove ad thing doesn't seem mandatory. The double XP thing, again, I've just been playing it naturally. I've been watching the ads to double my experience at the end of the runs. And I feel like I'm 1 level away from unlocking all the cards. So again, that one's also not necessary. Which brings me to the unlock all feature. $20 in-app purchase to remove ads and double your XP, and then just kind of wish upon a star that future content comes in here that requires money. I don't know. There's 1 character class, the other one already says coming soon. There's no mention of what that is going to cost, if it's going to be free or if it's going to require another in-app purchase. It would kind of suck if you only get 1 character and then the other one you have to pay for. But $20 in-app purchase is quite a bit, especially when the 2 preceding ones are $2 and $5 respectively. Yeah, it's a little much, and you don't get anything for it aside from the double XP and remove ads. There's no other content that you get with that purchase. Not too many options: sound, music, screen shake, and then the language. Not too many language options either. Again, it's pretty new. But anyway, let's dive into this. So 1 character class. Again, I'm difficulty Torment 9. Every time you beat the game, your Torment increases by 1. So you start off with normal, then Torment 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. We'll just click on the warrior. Here's the screen. So again, pretty reminiscent of Slay the Spire, except it's horizontal and not vertical. The cards that you start with are basically direct rip-offs from Slay the Spire. Some of the nuances are the amount of energy that you get, but essentially you have the exact same cards that you do in Slay the Spire. The numbers are slightly different, but you have your 2-cost one that exposes them and they take more damage. You got your armor cards, and you have your basic attack cards. This is basically the same. You kind of chart your path here towards the boss, and we'll go from there. So let's take the top one here. So we'll tap on that first encounter. I have 5 energy, and I have a relic a cogwheel. For every 2 attack cards played in a turn, gain 2 armor. And if you tap on an enemy, it'll let you know what they're doing. Green will cast the buff, and we'll cast a debuff. So no one's attacking me this round, so we'll just swipe these out here. And readiness, gain 8 armor at the start of the next turn, and I can guard to gain 4. Similar to Slay the Spire, at the start of each turn, you'll lose that armor, so it doesn't carry over. Attack, steal additional 2 damage. Let's go ahead and do that. And we'll swing at you twice. I have 8 armor because, again, I attacked with my relic to gain me armor, so I don't need to actually play an armor card here. And we'll go ahead and kill that guy. At the end of every fight, you gain a random amount of gold and then a card that you can skip. You don't have to take it, but I'll take Cautious there, and we'll move on to the next one. So the issue that I ran into, and Cautious kind of reminded me of it, there's a passive card called Hoarder, which basically lets you preserve your armor from round to round. You couple that with some of the better armor cards, gain 7 armor and draw a card, gain 15 armor, gain 25 armor, double the amount of armor you have. Basically, the first 2-3 times I played this game, I went for just a, let me attack this guy a little bit. I went for a totally defensive build, and my armor would be in the hundreds. Nothing could damage me. There's a couple other passive cards that deal damage every time you gain armor, and then another card that deals half of your armor value as damage to a random enemy. So essentially, I would just armor up and then kill everything with that armor. And that one playstyle carried me through the first 2 or 3 times I played this game. Turtle Stance, perfect example of that. And I felt like there wasn't much variety. There wasn't a reason for me to take different cards. Nothing was really changing. Nothing was really hard. But once I got into the higher difficulties, all of a sudden things started to change. Getting all that armor online took a long time. So sometimes I would die before I could afford to play all of those cards, which led me to explore a couple different strategies on how to play. But the game actually has a lot going for it. There's kind of 3 archetypes that I found like pretty consistently. I'm gonna get rid of a slash here. There's kind of 3 archetypes I found consistently, like the heavily armor-based playstyle. There's another one where you deplete a card, and once you deplete a card, it's removed from the deck. It's like a one-time use. But there's certain passive cards that you can cast on yourself that when you deplete a card, you get a random card, a random depletion card in its place. When you deplete a card, you gain armor for that. When you deplete a card, you gain HP or other benefits like that. So a deck focused on depletion also works. And then the third one I found is using your life to do something. So there's a lot of cards that hey, if you'll notice, this costs 1 and it deals 4 damage. There's another card that you take 2 damage and you deal 15. And those are kind of the 3 most consistent archetypes that I found. You can kind of play it like straight up, but I found if you just go heavily into like the depletion cards like these 2, I'm going to take the Tower Shield since I have Caution and Turtle Stance here. But yeah, having to explore those other archetypes, not being able to rely just solely on the armor every single round. Plus, the more you play, the higher level up, the more achievements you unlock. You start unlocking more cards, so it's just harder to build that one play style over and over and over. And each enemy does different things. It starts off very reminiscent of Slay the Spire again, but just playing it over and over, as the torment level increases, new bosses get added into the pool, new enemies get added into the pool, they do their own unique things, they have their own unique effects. It's pretty cool. It's kind of diverged greatly from Slay the Spire, from what my initial impression was. But we'll keep going. Let me loot this treasure chest. 85 and an arrowhead. Gain 1 power. Fight this guy. So he's going to attack for 6 and then cast a debuff on me. Let's do that. This card is ethereal, so if I don't use it, it'll fade. This one, every time I gain armor, you reduce the cost of this. And you can see how, even by just playing 2, it's already kind of affordable. If I had better armor cards, the cost of that would really rapidly decrease. And then all of a sudden you're gaining 25 armor instead of 4, and it's free. But you can kind of see how, okay, that might take a couple turns to ramp up, and why some of the harder enemies at the end would just kill you before that combo's online. For each fully blocked attack, deal 4 damage. Let's do that. Fight this guy. Let's see if we can kill the worm, I guess. Riposte, slash, and sure, why not? My turn. Don't have enough energy for anything else. Let's see. I'm gonna take 18 damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's do that. And we'll go ahead and hit him, cast that, riposte, and guard, and then that's free. Now, can turtle stance it, start dealing damage, and then you can see how, yeah, just keep gaining armor, round after round after round, and they can't really do much. What I'm looking for is a card called Hoarder, which lets you keep all that armor from round to round to really ramp up. Let's do all this. We'll just hit him. And pile up. Whenever you gain armor 5 times in a single turn, gain 1 toughness. And toughness basically increases the amount of armor that you gain, so it just combos on itself. Do that. This deals 13 damage, and I already have enough to block the other one, so we'll do that. And I'll put the turtle on. Do this, and we'll end my turn. Hit that, and we're done. Let's see, whenever you play an attack card, at the end of each turn, heal for 1.5, or effortless blow, deal 5 damage. It's free, it's not a bad card. Now, at the campsites, you can meditate. The first card that you remove is free, and I like to get rid of these slashes, especially as you get your combo kind of set up. The second one is 200, then the third one is 500, and I haven't progressed past that. You can also choose between healing or increasing your max health, and then the campfire's done, and we're on the first boss. We'll use a secret technique. So this gives me time for turtle stance, ethereal, so that doesn't go, and we'll do effortless blow and end the turn. 26. Well, we'll do that. Go to 24. Pile up. Let's see. Tower's free, guard, effortless, and we can just smash all those in. Feel pretty safe right now. Doesn't seem like much you can do. Buff and armor, attack and debuff. This reduces power by 1, which is totally fine. We don't really deal damage that way. Riposte, do that. And what do we got here? 20 damage, we have the tower shield. Do that, and that. And let's do this. Just let him keep wailing away. Oh, thank God he didn't attack there. We don't actually have any armor. We deal 40 damage with that, and basically dead next round. So when you kill a boss, you're presented with one of 3 relics that you can take. At the start of each turn, deplete a random card in your hand, prevents the death, sets your HP. These are obviously random each time. We'll take the crown, gain max energy when you open a treasure chest, also gain a curse. Collect this, and there's our card. Whenever you deplete a card, whenever you gain armor, gain 1 toughness. Take that one. And then you kind of repeat. So Act 2 and then Act 3. Now, as soon as I click on one of these skulls, an ad is going to play. But that's basically it. When you get to the question marks, there's kind of random events that pop up, and you can choose one of several different options there. The sort of I'll highlight it in the video. The sort of red icon with the sword in it is the merchant, and you go there. You're presented with like 4 or 5 cards you can buy, 3 relics you can buy. But it's basically Slay the Spire. You got your campsites, you have your elites, your normals, your random events, the shops, and then the random treasure chests, and then finally the boss at the end. But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's free. The ads aren't very intrusive. You don't really need the double EXP to feel like you're gaining value and unlocking cards and progressing still. I recommend it. Again, try and get past the 3rd level. Like, at least try and beat the game 2 or 3 times. It's pretty easy up until that point, but once you make it to the 4th run, the enemies are going to start getting much harder, and it's going to actually require you to build a deck around some of the relics you get and some of the cards that you get, as opposed to, hey, I'm just going to force this one playstyle over and over and over. But yeah, I like it. Dungeon Tales on the iOS and App Store. It's free. Check it out. I'll see you soon. Bye.